joined by Masood Aziz, former senior advisor at the Embassy of Afghanistan in Washington, D.C. Actually, if you were in Afghanistan right now and you had an account at Kabul Bank, would you be withdrawing all your money, or would you accept the guarantees of the government?
I want to have an account in Kabul Bank.
Oh, good answer, I suppose. But I mean, is this about corruption, and what is this all of this about? If it's just about being a bank of gamblers who invested in real estate, then you could probably say the same about Goldman Sachs, frankly, or any other bank. Or is this about deep-seated corruption that goes to the core of the Afghan government?
That's the right kind of a question to ask, actually. Only 4 or 5% of the Afghans have bank accounts. So when people talk about the collapse of this bank being, deadly to the economy, that's really not the case. The economy has a lot of other problems to deal with, mainly due to security issues, but also because there's no infrastructure building and the international community has not helped. The aid delivery is very inefficient. 10% of the aid gets there. But the collapse of Kabul Bank will have a tremendous effect on the financial system because other banks may collapse. There's not a lot of banks, 6 or 7 other ones, and they're smaller. That may engender a question of trust. If the financial system collapses, the question of trust in the government itself. That's the number one issue. And the other issue is, of course, this issue of corruption that has been raised because a private bank has made investments by its own owners. They lost some of their money, and now they have to be bailed by the government.
But this sounds remarkably similar to what we were discussing here in the U.S. just a few months ago, frankly.
You're absolutely right. And the U.S. now is assisting in this process as well. So that may be a good thing. But the government in Afghanistan and the central bank did the right thing to intervene, because that's their job, to intervene when the bank is apparently collapsing, to intervene and secure the financial markets and to try to stabilize. So that's the first job that they have to do. The second is to address this question of corruption and this question of trust that the public is really questioning. So those two things are intermingled, and it's a critical moment for the Afghan government.
But is the Afghan government up to the sort of reform to clean up the banking system when, frankly, we even see governments like the U.S. government struggling with exactly those issues of cleaning up a corrupt banking system that overextends itself in dodgy property bubbles and so forth?
That's exactly right. So the government in Afghanistan now has this very unique opportunity to do two things. One, to assure the public in Afghanistan that the financial system is going to be stable because the central bank is stepping in. That's the number one. And then it has a tremendous, perhaps one of the most unique opportunities in the past 10 years to actually address the question of transparency and trust in the financial system.
What chance? Given the reputation of this particular government in particular.
It's perhaps one of the only chances. At the same time that address the transparency of the financial system, the government can step in and say, look, we want to start with the financial system, with those that are wealthy, address transparency and regulations around the financial system, but at the same time restore trust in the government itself and the broader issue of corruption. This is a very unique opportunity for the government to do so.
Masood Aziz, thank you very much. Perhaps this is about the innate nature of the murky world of banking rather than the innate nature of corruption in Afghanistan. But Masood Aziz, thank you very much.
Sure.